Hello, everyone. Welcome to this very special Art of Love series event. I'm Arielle Ford, and today I'm here with my dear friend Deepak Chopra, and we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, love. Deepak, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Arielle.
So in your newest bestseller, which is What Are You Hungry For?, you talk about that we know that we're loved and we're being loved, and the more we put our attention on love, the more expansive it becomes. How do we have more love in our life?
Well, the first thing to understand is that love is our ground state. Ground state means it's who we are. Love is being. Being is existence. So love is existence. The great Indian poet Tagore once said, love is not a mere sentiment, it is the ultimate truth at the heart of creation, which means that your essential state is love. What distorts that is that we look outside for love, not realizing that the love that we experience outside is a reflection of the love we have for our deepest self. And when I say deepest self, I don't mean your ego, which is not yourself. That's a socially induced hallucination. I mean your soul, which is beyond your self-image, your true self. Your true self is love. And so in your actions in the world, if you just ask yourself, if I made this choice, am I loving myself? If I really love myself, would I make this choice? Now, that means everything, from how you speak to a person, how you take care of your body, how you talk to your parents or your children, how you put food in your body. Before you do that, ask yourself, if I love myself, would I do this? And then intuitively choose the right answer. And stop looking for the right person, because the right person is only a reflection of who you are. Instead of looking for the right person, become the right person. And you find love.
That's beautiful. And for those people out there who feel like they don't have enough love in their life, how do they effectively ask for more love?
I said it before. You are love. So don't ask for more love. Be in love. It's a very interesting expression. Be in love. Being in love. So when people think of being in love, they usually think that relationship. But look at the phrase, being is who you are in love. The being is in love. You know, it's the biggest love in the world. Focused on none, denied to none. Like light. You know, light in this room is focused neither on you nor on me. And neither is it denied to anyone. It's neither focused nor denied. When you express that kind of love in your life, then your love is like light from a bonfire. And then you can focus it on any object that you want. But it has to reflect who you are. You know, any relationship that's based on need, how do I get this? Doomed for failure. Any relationship that comes from self-esteem and playfulness and joy, because you know the divine qualities of your soul are love, kindness, compassion, empathy, joy, equanimity. Radiate those and you're free.
I have a question for you. How do couples keep growing the love when it appears that they're headed in different directions? And do they need to always be going in the same direction?
Couples may go in different directions. Couples don't need to go in the same direction. Couples may grow at different rates of evolution, and that can lead to two things. One is that the relationship falls apart, and that's okay. You know, I mean, not every relationship is meant to be permanent if it's not nourishing to you. On the other hand, if you think the relationship is valuable, then an honest communication, and more than communication, communion, which means this is how I feel. Maybe you feel differently, but it's okay. You feel the way you feel, I feel the way I feel, and there is permission for you to be who you are and for me to be who you are. As long as there's equality, empathy, and nourishment of feelings without trying to figure out the feelings, start to figure it out, you might as well go to psychotherapy and stay there for the rest of your life. But if you relinquish the need for analyzing, I feel what I feel, you feel what I feel, it's okay. I respect you, you respect me, we're equal, and we still have the love. Then that kind of relationship has to be successful. It is successful. I think the thing that happens in relationships, which is partly Western and cultural, because we don't have it in my relationship, is you give the other person the freedom to be who they are, as they are, without your trying to change their behavior so you can feel better. It's difficult enough to change your own behavior to feel better. To expect somebody else to change their behavior so you feel better, it's kind of
Well, that reminds me, in your book, The Path to Love, you talk about the differences of controlling and allowing in a relationship. How do we do that, and why is it important?
Control in any form is toxic. Control in any form means you're struggling with the universe. This moment is as is because of the universe is, this moment is as is because the universe is as is. I can't control this moment. I can no longer control the past, it's gone. I can influence the future. I can influence the future through my intentions, through my actions, through my behavior, through my speech, through my thoughts. I can influence it. But even the future I can't totally control. Thank God for that, because if everything was manipulable, then there would be no creativity in the universe. Creativity comes from the fact that we'll surrender to the moment, willing to play, willing not to manipulate or control. So it's not that you don't try to control the other person, you don't even control yourself. You just go with the flow, and that's being. We have 4 levels of existence: being, feeling, thinking, and doing. So essentially we are human beings. Then we are human feelings, then we are human thinkings, then we are human doings. Now our world is screwed up because it's the other way around. Most people are doing. And it's like they're at Grand Central Station running frenetically in every direction without meaning or purpose. And then they are thinking, but they're only thinking about themselves. And then they're feeling, and it's mostly guilt, shame, depression, fear, hostility, anger, and there's no being. So if you have to reverse that whole thing, you have to be. And be simply means this is as it should be. And when this is as it should be, then I can intend the future, I can let go of the past, and I can have lightness of soul. Lightness of soul is our essential state. And there is love. Actually in the Vedic tradition, love is Sat Chit Ananda. It's truth. Sat means truth. Chit, it's consciousness. And consciousness has certain properties: intuition, insight, creativity, choice. Ananda, it's bliss. So that's who you are. Now, if you mess it up by trying to control, by trying to manipulate, by regretting the past, by fearing the future, then you've lost love.
You mentioned being. What do you have to say about couples being together and meditating together? Is that something you recommend?
Yeah, meditation with someone that you love has very powerful effect. In fact, that's what in scientific terms would be called non-local correlation, which means your soul communicates with the other soul without speaking in language. As soon as you introduce language, then there's a veil. Okay, so you notice that when people are angry with each other, they shout. When they start to fall in love, they whisper sweet things to each other. And when they're really in love, they're silent. There's nothing to say.
That sounds like a beautiful state. Do you have any advice for couples who've become sexually bored with each other and a way to rekindle that spark?
Sexual activity is part of an overall activity. It's like, again, while sexual activity is fundamental, just like spirituality is fundamental, sexual activity is the creative energy of the universe. And when people lose well-being, health, then the things that go wrong in progressive order, one is when people are sick, they lose their appetite. They don't
For
feel
food and for
food.
sex. Yeah.
And for sex. And so when people have no appetite for food or sex, that's a sign that something is wrong with your overall life. Okay? It has not to do with decreased testosterone or decreased estrogen. Now, of course, if you see commercials, the solution is Cialis, this, that, and the other, and then they tell you this, you could have hypertension, heart attack, blindness.
Right. The side
death.
effects are longer than the commercial.
Yeah, and yet people go and get all that stuff. So when your sexual appetite has diminished, you may think that you're bored, but actually there's something wrong with the relationship fundamentally on an emotional level. Okay, you are not contributing it and you're not receiving love actually. Secondly, you may not be healthy. You may not you may not be getting enough sleep or exercise, the simple things like that, or eating the right food. You have to be physically moving, having good sleep, having good, healthy, nourishing emotions. And I would add to that a little bit of mind-body coordination, yoga, pranayam. Eat, move, sleep, have healthy relationships, and you'll have good sexual appetite. In Ayurveda, for example, the sign of a good health is good sleep, good appetite, lots of sexual energy, bright eyes, perfumed breath, clear tongue, moist, and that indicates ojas. Now, ojas in Ayurveda literally means essence of sexual energy.
Oh, really?
It's a sign of vitality.
So how do we get
virility.
more ojas? We want to sleep better, eat better, exercise?
Exercise. I would practice mind-body coordination. I do just one daily 5 or 10 rounds of sun salutations. That's the best yoga. You don't have to go into complicated. And then before meals, 5 minutes break of breathing, pranayam, meditation, and you'll be healthy.
Sometimes when I'm supposed to go to my workout class, I don't want to go, but I go anyway.
And you feel better.
And then I feel better.
Sure.
Maybe it's like that with sex. You may be thinking, I really don't want to have any sex, but it's like riding a bike. You get
use it or lose it, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. Do you think it's important to become a student of love?
Yeah, it may be. I mean, if it's your essential state, then most of the time we are interfering with the essential state. So it's good to know, to have knowledge. But a lot of people are experts and their life is messed up. A lot of people get Nobel Prize for peace and they're not at peace. So I don't go so much with the academic knowledge, although I'm kind of an academic addict myself. But how many peace Nobel laureates I know personally who have no peace in their own life?
Right, but if we want to have a great relationship, what would you advise people to do in terms of being a more loving person? Or
be natural. Don't pretend who you're not. Radiate a simple, unaffected humanity. Respond to other people's gestures of love. And Give your love lavishly. The more you give, the more you'll have.
What's ecstasy and how can we have it?
Well, there's a pill called ecstasy too, and if you take overdose on it, it can kill you. But ecstasy is transcendence. Now, when people sometimes, when they take the pill, ecstasy, and they don't overdose on it, they get that experience, okay? Time slows down, they have transcendence, they feel very blissful. That's why such a thing can be addictive. Some people experience that the first time they take other drugs also, cocaine, marijuana, etc. But then they get hooked to that memory, and what happens is the more they take of it, then the less the effect, and then they get hooked to the memory of a pleasure that they experienced, but now they need more and more, and then that exhausts itself, and then you become an addict, which is you can't get enough of what you don't want anymore. But for many people, that is a glimpse of ecstasy. That's why it's addictive. So what is ecstasy? Ecstasy is transcendence. Transcendence means there's no thought. Thought separates us from reality. See, any system of thought is a veil. So scientific thought, people think, oh, now I know Big Bang, galaxies, stars, dark matter. That's not reality. That's a veil. It's a system of thought that creates a model of reality. So too, religion is a system of thought that creates a model of reality. Philosophy is a system that creates a model of reality. As long as there's thought, there's a veil. And behind the veil is ecstasy. So ecstasy can only be experienced when you transcend thought, which is
Not easy, since most of us have this monkey mind going on 24/7.
Yeah, but it also is easy when you realize that there's no need to think sometimes. It's you're not your thoughts,
That
I can
know.
tell you, think blue, think of a mountain, think of a rose, and think of your mother, and you can have any thought you want, and then you can let it go too. So you're obviously not your thoughts. So ecstasy is transcendence. Now there are stages to ecstasy. There's physical ecstasy. There's sexual ecstasy. Physical ecstasy, what's the difference between physical ecstasy and sexual ecstasy? Because sexual ecstasy is a form of physical ecstasy. And, people have it when they have orgasm, sexual ecstasy. But then at the orgasm, they're not saying to themselves, does this feel good or does it not feel good? It's transcendence. It's in fact, it's a little death of the ego, death of thought. Physical ecstasy, similar to sexual ecstasy, can come through sound and music. It can come through touch. It can come through smell, taste,
Dancing.
dancing.
Yeah.
These are all physical types of ecstasy. Then there's something called mythical ecstasy. And mythical ecstasy is the awakening of dormant archetypes, masculine and feminine in you. And they're kind of dancing passionately in yourself. Most people have never experienced it because they don't know what archetypes are, mythology is, etc. But archetypes lift us from ordinary ego-bound personalities to grand visions. That's why when people watch archetypal stories, Lawrence of Arabia, Ten Commandments, or whatever, they feel that.
The grandness of it.
The grandness of it.
Yeah.
That's called mythical ecstasy. And then there's sacred ecstasy, which is union with God. So, even ecstasy has stages.
And how do we get there?
Enlightenment.
Last question
is a
for
long
you.
journey. Yeah, it's
How-
a fun journey.
How do we move from fear to love?
You love yourself. Fear is I don't know what fear is, to tell you the truth. I don't experience it myself, so I have compassion for those who experience it. But if you ground yourself in your being, what's there to fear? You are the force of the universe, pretending to be a human being at the moment.
Okay, Will you leave us with your favorite love poem, or one? I know you've got many. One of them?
Come out of the circle of time into the circle of love. That's Rumi.
Rumi. Love Rumi. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you, Maria.
Thanks for joining us for this special Art of Love series event. There's more to come.